Welcome to a Legendarium special about Ragnarok, the Viking apocalypse. In this installment, we will talk about how the Old Norse believed that the world would end. According to Norse mythology, Ragnarok is the destruction of the cosmos and all things in it, even the gods. It would begin when the Norns, three immortal women who spun fate upon a loom, wished it to occur. The Norns would begin Ragnarok with a great winter, sometimes called Fimbulwinter. Biting winds will blow snow in all directions, the sun will lose its warmth, and the earth will plunge into a terrible cold. It will last for 3 winters, with no summers in between. During Fimbulwinter, morals and honor will fall away. As men grow desperate, kinsmen will slaughter one another and even take their female relations as brides in unions that the Vikings saw as evil and unnatural. Curiously, Fimbulwinter had roots in historical memory. During the years 536 and 539 AD, twin volcanic eruptions caused an extended cold spell that caused agriculture to almost collapse in Europe in the aftermath of Rome's fall. Scandinavia, already at the northern edge of European agriculture, likely experienced a near social breakdown as people scrambled for food and land. With few women to go around, men may have resorted to marrying female relations, something that caused a cultural shame that showed itself in the myth of Fimbulwinter. The Voluspa said of Fimbulwinter, "The sun turns black, earth sinks in the sea, the hot stars down from heaven are whirled, fierce grows the steam and the life-feeding flame till fire leaps high about heaven itself." It does sound as if the events of 536 and 539 may have inspired this. Next, a dread being called FENRIR wolf would escape. In Norse myth, the gods locked away evil beings who would otherwise destroy creation. Sometime before the beginning of the world, the Norse gods chained FENRIR wolf up and pried his jaws open with a magic sword. Yet after Fimbulwinter, Fenrir's sons Skoll and Hati break him out by tearing the earth apart. Fenrir then leads his sons in eating the moon, the sun, and all the stars. Yet the obliteration of the universe simply marked the beginning of troubles. With the great earthquakes made by Fenrir's liberation, a serpent called Jormungand, also called the Midgard serpent, which was once confined to the bottom of the oceans, is able to climb onto land. Because of its great size displacing water, terrible floods wash over all countries. The Midgard serpent, so big it can encircle the earth, blows venom into the air, creating a poisonous rain along with the floods. Upon these floodwaters, the dead will return. Just as Vikings believed that heroes went to Valhalla, they believed that the wicked dead went to Hell, where they built a ship called Nagfar, made from their own fingernails and toenails. Because of this belief, the Norse trimmed the fingers and feet of their dead before they put them onto funeral pyres. During the flood, Nagfar will be captained by the evil trickster god Loki and piloted by a giant named Hrymir, who leads them over the flooded earth. Its crew will be an army of giants, thought to be agents of chaos in Norse myth. With most humans dead from Fimbulwinter and the Midgard floods, Nagfar will join with Fenrir wolf and the Midgard serpent to battle the gods. Thor would have the most dramatic death, wrestling the Midgard serpent until he smashed its skull with his hammer. Alas, he would only take 9 steps from the dead snake before he realized that he had been bitten and drops dead from poisoning. Indeed, Ragnarok would end with the deaths of all gods, including their king Odin. According to Viking lore, Odin would be swallowed by Fenrir wolf, and then his son Vidar would fight to avenge him. The Norse believed that Vidar could only defeat Fenrir with a magical boot, which he would put on his right foot and use to stamp on the great wolf's lower jaw while he tore off his upper jaw. To make sure that Vidar would have enough leather to make his boot, Norse shoemakers had to throw out a few scraps of leather every time they made shoes. While wasteful, the Norse believed that the fate of the universe depended on their performing this ritual. Despite Vidar's great victory, the dome of the sky would crack open with the death of Fenrir wolf, and fire giants led by Surt, who carried a sword brighter than the sun, would march across the rainbow bridge to Asgard to finish off the gods. Knowing that the gods must die, Vidar perished in battle with the final surviving gods against Surt. And upon killing the last god, Surt threw down his fire sword and engulfed the world in flames. The Voluspa recorded, "The sun shall be darkened, smoke-reek rages, and reddening fire, the high heat licks against heaven itself. Then the remains of the world will sink into the sea, and nothing remains but the void. Creation and all that occurred since will be as if it never happened." Indeed, that is how the old Vikings believed the world would end, and they believed that if the gods could face death and oblivion with courage and stoic acceptance, then so could men. Yet as the Vikings came into contact with Christians and the Christian belief in rebirth, they tacked an epilogue onto Ragnarok. This Christian-inspired epilogue saw a few beings survive the downfall of the old world. In the manner of Noah, they hid themselves from the cataclysm in a magical forest called the Wood of Hodmir. 6 gods, including Vidar, would join 2 humans, a man named Lif and a woman named Liftrasir. The 8 survivors kept alive by feeding on the morning dew in the dales. Finally, the sun would have a daughter who takes her place, and the last 2 surviving humans would begin the world anew. In time, the Viking myth of apocalypse also ended, replaced by the Christian faith which had already begun to shape it. That wraps things up for this episode of The Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.